Chapter 2 is coming to an end very soon. Naruto's around the corner and the mech's going to be brought back into the game. But after that, it's pretty much a wrap. So today we're going to be looking over all the seasons of Chapter 2 and pretty much rating Chapter 2 and seeing if it stands up against Chapter 1. Today we're finally going to answer the question, was Chapter 2 better than Chapter 1? All right, Chapter 2, Season 1. It was a very exciting time for a lot of us. If you guys remember, this happened right after the Black Hole event. For me, this was a very special moment. The Black Hole event is a stream I will never forget. And I'm very excited at the thought of another one coming up very soon. But Chapter 2, Season 1 was pretty much a huge reset for the game. We just went from like all the craziness of Season X into a completely brand new map with some new mechanics like fishing, boats. We had picking up downed enemies. It was a completely fresh start at the game. The only problem with this chapter really is that it went on a little too long. This season actually lasted 128 days. And just to give you some reference, the longest season of Chapter 1 was either Season 7 or 9, and both of those lasted 84 days. And the worst part was that in Season 1, Chapter 2, the only major update we got was the introduction of the harpoon. It was really quite an underwhelming opener. It really ruined the season for me personally. A lot of people at this point in time who were playing Fortnite a lot, guys like Tim the Tatman, Nick Merckx, this is really when they started making that transition over to other games. I do miss the Star Wars mini event and the lightsabers that got added. I think that was a very cool highlight to kind of mix it in with the harpoon. And that's definitely a very memorable moment. And then we ended up doing fashion shows because we were so out of content and bored, but it did kind of spawn this little community driven content, which was fashion shows, and you guys absolutely loved them. I had a fun time doing them, but we did a lot of them because there was really no content. So to wrap that one up, Season 1, Chapter 2 might be one of the worst seasons of Fortnite. So we're off to a rough start, but it does get better. Season 2, Chapter 2. And here's the thing about Season 2, Chapter 2. This could have been one of the best seasons ever. And it also suffered a similar problem of Season 1. It did have a good amount of content, especially in the beginning, but it also lasted 124 days, just 4 days shy of being the longest season ever. They started off strong. They had the mythics, they had the agency, which was a really goated POI. You know, nothing's really going to replace Tilted Towers anytime soon, but the agency came close to being a very, very cool hot drop. The introduction of Midas, Brutus, Sky, all these different NPCs and their unique mythic weapons, decoys, cardboard boxes, the rapid fire SMG, the shark, the grotto, the rig, some pretty good POIs and very memorable POIs. Helicopters also got added, and the battle pass for Season 2, Chapter 2 was actually amazing. We had some really cool iconic characters introduced in this battle pass. So it started off really strong, and this could have been one of the best seasons. The only issue is that we got all this content, and then literally for like 60 or 70 days, there was no content, very little updates. The delays that happened to this chapter kind of tarnished it, in my opinion. It had such a great start, and it had some consistent updates up until a certain point, and then after that, we were just kind of going back to doing fashion shows and waiting for something to change. A lot of damage was done because of the delays, and I know that not all of it could be avoided, but it does hurt. It does hurt to look back and see that the chapter had such a hard and difficult beginning. Now, Season 3, things started to look up a little bit. We actually had a pretty good paced season. 68 days. The water flooded the map. We got the introduction of cars, Coral Castle, my favorite POI. I can't believe it's still been in the game from Season 3 until the end. Fireflies and the fire mechanics started getting introduced. We had some more mythics. The Authority, which is a little bit of a downgrade from the agency, but still a decent like mid place to drop at. The island POIs got introduced. There was the secret boat. If you guys remember, there was a boat that would spawn on a different part on the edge of the map. And then we had, the secret battle pass skin, Aquaman. This was a pretty big deal because back then, unlike today, collaborations that Fortnite was doing was not as frequent. So, getting Aquaman was really cool. It was honestly a good season. Charged Shotgun, a lot of people hated it, but learned to love it, learned to be good at it. It had a pretty good battle pass, introduced a lot of game-changing mechanics. So I would say like this was one of the better seasons going into the chapter. Next up, we have Season 4. Okay, this one did get slightly delayed. It ran about 95 days, but I don't think people minded that much because Season 4 was a pretty legendary season. We had the Marvel Battle Pass, so we had a full collaboration for the Battle Pass. The pump returned to the game. The Marvel Mythics got introduced, you know, the Iron Man Marvel Mythic. One of my favorite ones was the Thor hammer, just lining that up on somebody who's boxed in and just hammering them down. Storm's like Tornado Mythic was really cool when you're build fighting. There's a lot of cool moments, a lot of awesome plays that were done. We had the cool Spawn Island, Galactus drones, and mini bosses on the map, the Stark Plains. And let's not forget one of the most amazing mid-season updates. This probably is still the best update to happen mid-season in Fortnite, where the entire map literally got lifted off the ground. We had Stark Industry introduced. We had Iron Man and his Iron Man vehicles. And then the Stark Industry drop spot, which is one of the most like goated drop spots and hot drops ever. It was fun to play arena. It was fun to play pubs. Season 4, you know, is easily in the top 5 seasons of all time, including Chapter 1. And, you know, that's pushing away the nostalgia of Chapter 1. But Season 4 was goated. It set the tone for a really, really good season. And then the mid-season update just completely carried it to the Hall of Fame. And then we finished it off with the Galactus event, one of the most memorable, insane events to go down. That's how we finished it. Although, you know, Galactus was a little underwhelming. Like, we kind of knocked him out pretty quickly, but the event itself was actually really cool. And there's a lot of people at the time who were watching it. By the way, guys, if you haven't noticed, I'm wearing new Metal Umbrella clothing. This is part of the second collection, which is dropping on the 16th. Yes, the same day as Naruto. It just happens to be a coincidence. Go to metalumbrella.com after this video. Sign up for the mailing list. You're going to get a 10% discount code. You can actually go look at the second collection and just see how cool of a job we did putting it together. Thank you guys so much for all the support on Metal Umbrella. All right, now we go into Season 5. So this was a season where our good friend Agent Jonesy went into different realities and brought over a bunch of people. Master Chief got brought in, did a bunch of different collaborations. Of course, one of my favorite collaborations is Street Fighter collab, introducing one of my favorite characters, Chun-Li. But yeah, we had a lot of fun Season 5 initially, and it had a really good start. Decent battle pass, cool skins. We had the anime skins. They brought planes back during the winter, and I think they did a really good job with planes because they were slightly nerfed, not overpowered. The Dragon Shotgun, very fun weapon to use. The lever action made introduction, and lever action was kind of adored at the time, mainly because there wasn't pumps in the game. But we had sand tunneling, we had the Coliseum. The only issue is that season suffered from a lack of updates. The updates for Season 5 were literally just the collaborations that were happening. We had the entire 0 point exposed in the middle of the map, yet all the updates were really surrounding the collabs. And for some people, that was very exciting. And if you weren't that into the collabs, it was kind of a boring season, unfortunately. Now we go into Season 6. You know, we started off with the Season 6 solo event. I think their first and last solo event. I don't think they've done a solo event since then. You got introduction to the Foundation, and he ended up, you know, trying to keep the 0 point intact and sealing himself on the 0 point. Then you had wildlife, you had crafting introduced, which was a good addition to the game, except the makeshift weapons were not a good addition. The crafting system was cool. I'm glad it's still around. It was the makeshifts that were kind of horrific. Bony Burbs, not a great POI. Spire, one of the worst middle POIs. I think what we had before the convergence, where it was just literally water, was better than the Spire. The Recycler, a kind of cool weapon that got introduced. Wasn't too powerful, but was also fun to use. Colossal Crops, half decent POI. The bows, some people were a fan, some people were not a fan. The Primal Shotgun, which had a lot of people raging and losing their mind. Then you had the makeshift and, you know, Primal AR, Primal Pistols. The Primal Pistol was not good. The Primal AR I liked as a kind of like as a SMG alternate. They also messed around with like the survival game mode, if you remember that. We made a couple videos on that, and they didn't really add on to that. But Season 6, in my opinion, was probably one of my least favorite Chapter 2 seasons. There was not a lot of updates, and I was not a fan of the map. I just did not like Bony Burbs. I didn't like the primal POIs, and nothing really changed in terms of the map from the beginning of Season 6 until the end. Definitely put this either in last place or second last place. Season 7. This season is actually probably my top 3 or even top 2 for Season 2. We had UFOs, which were overpowered, but actually kind of a fun type of overpowered in my opinion. The abduction minigame, where you can get some good loot going through the abduction minigame, which gave you an alternate way to play the match. The railgun, really powerful weapon, and ended up getting removed from arena, but stayed in pubs, and I had a lot of fun using the railgun and the recon scanner. Prop gun was fun. We had some fun videos doing that. Ariana Grande concert, you know, great concert. Some people say it wasn't as good as the other concerts. I think it was still a fantastic concert. Then there was a pretty decent battle pass for season 7, and the end of season event was actually extremely cool and set up for pretty much the end of chapter 2. So we had a lot of story progression. We were getting stuff and map changes and new weapons pretty consistently. Had a lot of fun in season 7. I think it's definitely a top 2 season for me in chapter 2. And then we get to follow it up with season 8, and season 8 has had a great start. I think the Kevins on the map is awesome. It brings back some nostalgia from the old chapter. There wasn't a lot of changes in the beginning. A lot of people were calling season 8 season 7.5, but low-key in the past month it's picked up, and we have been getting consistent updates week to week, consistent changes week to week. Sideways zone was introduced, sideways weapons. Some of them were weak but recently got buffed and are now actually a lot better. The caretaker, completely insane monster to add to the game. The scythe, an actual, you know, usable melee weapon. And they introduced the concept of voting. We kind of had some community control on things that we could bring into the game and things that we could vote for. And then, you know, that stirred up some controversy, but of course that's bound to happen. It's still fun to see that we have some sort of control over what we bring into the game. We have some options. And then, you know, Naruto is coming out on Tuesday, confirmed 100%. Probably my favorite collaboration to date. Actually, not probably. This is definitely going to be my favorite collaboration ever in Fortnite. And it's coming out on Tuesday. And then the mechs are coming back, and it's going to get crazy because this is the last season of the chapter, and we're probably gonna have some crazy end of season events. So season 8 is also gonna be in my top 3. Overall, the chapter has been fun. I haven't quit the game. I'm still here enjoying it, and I'm ready for the next chapter. But I do gotta say, and we had a lot of fun in the first chapter. But here's the thing. I feel like the game of Fortnite is really remembered by the map. The map dictates the gameplay, it dictates the pacing and the memories that we associate with Fortnite. A lot of times it's associated with certain areas. You know, you dropping Tilted Towers with your squad, you running through Tomato Town after you killed everybody there, and you have 10 eliminations on the board. I feel like the Chapter 2 map, if you look at Chapter 2 Season 1 to Season 8, it hasn't changed enough for those, you know, unique memories to stand out, and it feels more of a blur compared to chapter 1, where a lot of the times, like, you look at the early seasons versus the mid seasons and then the late seasons, the map changed so much, the different biomes and different things that was going on. I would say because of that, chapter 1 takes the win over chapter 2. And I'm saying that without the nostalgia playing into it, because chapter 2 had some amazing seasons and did things that chapter 1 could never and has never done. Chapter 3 has a lot to learn from chapter 2, and I think if they go back to a little bit of the formula where there are significant biomes and map changes and gameplay changes that keeps the game fresh, chapter 3 could end up dethroning chapter 1, and we will find out next month, and I'm going to be sure to cover it all. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss an upload. Thank you guys so much for watching.